topography of the hole from Megan Kang. And that's where the ball ends up. It's almost rejected by that slope. And that one's not going to be very easy either. Let's go to 16 again on Cypress Creek.
Excellent birdie look for Popov. Takes advantage. Third birdie of the day, 2 under now. Looking like she likes life atop championship leaderboards.
She's not shied away since winning the AIG Women's Open.
Lexi for birdie, first of the day at 15. Yep, finally it happens for Lexi Thompson to +2, and she's back within 6. Kind of a half smile there with her caddy Tim Tucker, who of course caddy for Bryson DeChambeau in his U.S. Open win at Winged Foot. Saso over at the par 5 13th, third shot.
Yep, laid up to where she has just under 90 yards for her third. Gonna go right at it.
Yeah.
With a little bit of suck back that takes it further away from the hole, but all in all, decent.
It'll be a chance for Saso to join Olson, who's all alone on top at 4 under. Back to you, Tom, at the other course.
And Brittany Lindstrom trying to get it in the house here. Almost an identical shot to the one we saw from Megan Kang. She bumped it into the bank. Still going to leave an awkward length for the bogey for Lincecum to post 2 under. That would be a round of 69. It's past 71 here on both courses. And we'll go back over to the other course, Cypress Creek.
Jessica Korda for birdie at +3, finishing up on this front 9 at Cypress. And Jessica rolling it in. She and her sister Nellie, same exact tee times on, of course, different court, before losing to Rafa Nadal as they try to monitor that tournament while they were playing. This is Amy Olson off the tee. And out of the dormant rough at the par 5 9th for Olson. So she's got a chance for another finishing birdie, perhaps, to even push it to 5 under, where Megan Kang was at one point. And as you look at Danielle Kang, we'll remind you that our uninterrupted coverage of the USGA Championships on Golf Channel is presented by Rolex. And this, the 75th U.S. Women's Open Championship, which Danielle Kang would love dearly to put on her resume.
May need to make a birdie if she's going to win the championship at some stage. This is for a birdie at 17.
And that would be a good point there. Now this putt comes up the ridge, then back downhill the last quarter of the putt, putting through the shadows. And we've documented her pace has been spot on throughout the day.
This one does tend to roll away, but not that much, so she'll have that to keep this Nick Faldo-like round going. Of course, 18 pars at Muirfield to win the Open in '87. And it's going to be another tester there for Kang. And we will go over to the Jackrabbit course, where Brittany Lincecum was working hard on this bogey putt to finish her round. She struggled with a thumb injury earlier this year. Talk about Paula Creamer with the surgery on her thumb. I don't think Brittany's was as severe, but still that was certainly an issue for her. And you can see it's wrapped up there on her left hand. And that's going to be a double bogey. So we've seen a couple of doubles there, one from Megan Kang and now Brittany Lincecum on a hole which, looking at the stats, has not been one of the more difficult holes on the course.
Well, it's because when you hit the green, it's not that difficult. It's a small portion, so those players that hit the green have a good look at birdie, a good opportunity. But if you miss the green, it is such a severe slope. Call it like a little pumpkin top. It actually kind of has a ridge up and then back down towards the center.
Jarina Piller working on her par putt into Goddard High School, which was where Nancy Lopez went to school. And earlier this year, she was talking about growing up and going into the school cafeteria there was a sign there that said Nancy Lopez 8 here. Of course, Nancy, 3 runners-up finishes in the US Women's Open, was never able to get her hands on this trophy. Jarina Piller would dearly love to win her national open. Growing up in New Mexico, Roswell, New Mexico, now living in the Dallas area. And that's a good par in a round of 69. A nice way to start the week.
Avoids the curse at 18.
Yeah,
Jackrabbit.
we thought we were creating something here with the way that we've seen players play the final hole on Jackrabbit. Lincecum just to finish off. So a disappointing way to finish the day for Brittany Lincecum. Could have been so much better. Got it to 3 under par, and then that double bogey on the final hole. And the third member of the mums group is Christy Kerr. Christy's not had a great year. She did play well before the COVID shutdown in Australia, finished 6th at the ISPS Handler Women's Australian Open. But since then, really nothing to celebrate. So if she can turn her game around this week, then certainly she'll be happy with that. Round of 71.
Pretty impressive, Tom, after that golf cart accident. Man, really impressive.
Didn't even know if she was going to play this week.
All right, Yuka Saso over 13 for birdie, Kay.
This for her 5th birdie today. Tricky little putt, uphill initially, then downhill. So it's about getting the speed right.
To tie Olson at the top at 4 under.
Oh, she's really rolled that one beautifully.
Got a little work coming back to remain 1 back at 3 under. Back at 17.
Danielle Kang working hard on this par putt.
Yeah, good 6.5, maybe 7 feet. There's enough break. You have to play this ball outside the hole left. She has been spot on throughout the day from this distance.
Been working on her putting with Pat Goss. No. So the run of pars ends not with a birdie, but with a bogey. Likely to be a bogey anyway. I don't think she'll have much trouble with this one. She shouldn't anyway.
This is when it starts to get frustrating.
Yeah.
It wasn't the par streak. It's the fact that the first non-par is a drop shot when you've given yourself so many opportunities.
Yeah, all those birdie looks to break that par streak, and it ends up like this.
Knowing Danielle the way we do, wouldn't surprise me if she makes a birdie on the final hole. So as we take a look at the first page of the leaderboard, Amy Olson, who came so close to winning a major championship a few years ago in Evian, leads by 1, and there really is an international feel to this championship, and that is shown in the first page of the leaderboard. 24 amateurs here to start the week. And we have a few that are under par. Such a big stage and a massive opportunity for the amateur players. Well, Bones, you were out there watching Amy Olson. It's been impressive.
Yeah, and all of a sudden she's grabbed the club here, Tom. She's going to lay it up, which is very surprising. She's only got 218 front. So I think this should just be a pretty basic play. But my question I have for Paige is, you know, if we do indeed get this poor weather that is forecast to come in tomorrow, which of the 2 courses would you rather play? Because I'm thinking that if we get a lot of wind, these already dangerous greens out here at Cypress Creek could become very, very difficult. And Amy Olson is in a position going to Jackrabbit to really make a statement in this tournament.
I could make the argument both ways, Bones. I think you're correct in that assessment, but I'd also say that Jackrabbit's greens become that much more difficult to hit, and they're more penalizing if you miss your targets due to their fall-offs than the Cypress course. So I think I can make the argument both ways. I think I'd rather be playing Cypress tomorrow, though.
And that goes Shibuno for par at the 8th. She was walking that in about a foot from the hole. And Hanako Shibuno off to a very nice start. 3 under. Let's go to 13.
And Saso with a little more than a little cleanup, but this for par to remain at 3 under. So the excellent Thursday continues for Yuka Saso, tie for second with Shibuno and Kim. Off by visiting girlsgolf.org today. Nelly Korda for birdie at 16. Coaxes that one in. First birdie of the day for Nelly. Highest ranked American in the world. Puts a smile on her face. Right there, +2. She heads over to the 17th.
Talked about how this championship actually inspired her to turn pro. Played as a young 14-year-old back in 2013. Said, this is what I want to do, and turned pro at 17 years old.
Over at the par 5 9th, as we saw Amy Olson's layup there, it ended up in a divot, Bones, so that's what she's faced with her third after taking the conservative approach.
Yeah, it's just, you know, fortunately for her, it's a sand-filled divot, and whoever filled it in did a heck of a good job. But that being said, it's a divot nonetheless, 74 yards over sand. So she's got a little bit of stress here for her last full shot of the day.
So as Olson gets a little closer look, Pressel will play before Amy.
88 yards, but very little space between the front edge of the green and the flag on her angle. So this is going to be very difficult to get close. You can hear her caddy rock there saying to go a little bit left of it, which is great advice given the fact that it'll give her just a little bit more green to work with. Just takes care of the front bunker.
How about that?
All right, Morgan. Nice play.
Dialed it in.
It's all good now.
Yeah, it's tough to get a good angle to this whole location at all, Bones. It's pretty well protected.
Certainly is. I think they're probably a little happy about the fact there's a little wind in their face right now, but boy, I'm sure Morgan has no idea how close that came to being a sandy fourth for her.
Song is next.
76 yards. Similar angle that Pressel had. It's been the tough last hour for Song. Hit it in the penalty area on the previous hole and just hasn't gotten much of anything out of this round.
Yeah, had a bad mistake earlier, Bones, at 8 with a triple. But
Hey.
nice way to finish up.
Boy, how about the spin on that one?
Yeah, that parked right in front in a hurry. Here's the lie. We're taking a close look at it, and that well done sand-filled divot that Bones described.
74 yards, and golf is just that kind of game, isn't it? She's played a near perfect round of golf. Lays it up into the center of the fairway, but dealing with this now, so certainly something of a descending blow coming up. Caught very cleanly. Well done.
Nice. You just have to tell yourself in that situation, I always hit ball first anyway when I have wedge in hand, because it can definitely mess with your mind a little bit watching the sand in front of you, and you can see just here how descending she is hitting into it. Look how deep that divot is. Bones mentioned it. You were expecting to see it come in pretty sharp angle, and it did.
Yeah, so keeping this round intact to the very end. We'll even have a chance for a birdie to increase the lead at 5 under. Back at 17.
Second for Sophia Popov. Looks to be a pretty good line. Yes, really nice approach. One of the best you've seen here today. And that should lead to a birdie for Popov. Let's go over to the Jackrabbit course. This was just earlier. Minji Lee for birdie. This was just a little bit earlier, and in it goes. So Minji Lee, one of the best players in the world not to have won a major championship, 8th in the Rolex rankings, finishing with a birdie for a round of 74. And we'll go back over to Cypress Creek.
To the par 5, which is the finishing hole for this group, including Amy Olson, who is trying to finish off a spectacular day. Just the 4th U.S. Women's Open appearance for her. Best she's ever done is a tie for 52nd 4 years ago. Has not played in a lot of these, but as Tom and some of us were mentioning, she has had her moments in big championships. And if she's able to sleep on a U.S. Women's Open lead in the first round, that'll give her another layer of experience to deal with, and perhaps chasing down one of these big titles.
Well, Dan, watching her play today, I never would have guessed that would have been her best finish in the ladies' U.S. Open. She has been some kind of impressive. She's got to be careful here. This is very quick, right around the hole. It's late in the day. These greens are getting quite shiny, so I imagine this to be quite the lag putt here. Downhill, right to left.
Never on that right side, Bones. It's trying to come back to the right, but it'll be a tap-in par for Amy Olson. Again, from North Dakota, to facilitate her golf in the cold climate, her dad, Mark, installed a 12 by 15-foot artificial turf putting green in the basement of the family home. In the living room, which had an 18-foot ceiling, they displaced a couple dining room tables, made room for Amy to practice her putting and her swing. And so when you're parents, that's what you do when you're living in North Dakota in a sport that is outdoors for the most part. So Amy Olson wondering if 4 under is going to hold up for the first round lead. Still a lot of players left. Morgan Pressel now hoping for a Thursday ending birdie.
Straight up the hill. She certainly thought her third shot had gone in the bunker. She was really excited to see that she had that kind of putt for a birdie, but just didn't quite get the break right.
Jin Young Ko coming down here at 18 with her second.
164 yards in this 18th hole is all you want in a finishing hole. Tough driving hole with those bunkers down the left. A location positioned again in the back portion of this green.
A little deep into the world, promoting the spotlight on women's golf at this unique championship. This is Saso.
She didn't like that at the 14th, did she?
Yeah, I think little mishit and maybe wrong club too, because she had a good lie in the rough.
Rory McIlroy's pretty good at dressing a Christmas tree, isn't he? That was quite impressive in the background there, Rory.
You think he did that?
Yeah, of course he did.
All right, Kang at 18, coming home. 402-yard par 4, and I know you have a lot of respect for this as a championship finishing hole, Paige.
And it can be lengthened, so it'll be interesting to see how the USGA plays it, because it will become a monster of a par 4 if they do lengthen it. I kind of like Tom's call early that it might be the bogey that spurs her on to finally getting a birdie on the 18th, so that's a good look there.
Well, that's a tight look there, as if she's still stinging a bit from that lone bogey. 17.
Carlota Segunda for a par. Remember, we saw that run of 3 birdies in a row, so that keeps the momentum going. That was just a moment ago. And Sophia Popov playing alongside Segunda now, live with the German star, is to get it to 3 under. I think she gained so much confidence from the way that she played at the AIG Women's Open. Of course, you would, but she's taken that confidence and she seems to be comfortable with it.
And the way she shared her story, Tom, I just think if you didn't get emotional about that and have a huge respect for what she's been through, then, you know, you're just not human. She just persevered through health problems and did a spectacular job of explaining what she's gone through. And here's the amateur again, just in the rough at 15, Lindblad. At even par, 4 back. Freshman at LSU in the spring and was named the SEC Golfer of the Year and the Freshman of the Year in 2020. Comes up well short there. It's going to have about a 75-footer. Back over at 18. Number 1 player, Billy Ray.
Well, this is the lie you're looking at. I think from mindset here, you take a run at this one here.
She did.
Oh. Now a lot of work left. The ball sitting up nicely, pitching back up the hill now. Good 8 to 10 feet left to save her par.
Yeah, for players not familiar with dormant Bermuda, it can be a bit of a challenge. A lot of players not used to playing this time of year, that type of grass. And you'll be surprised at how quickly it can hop off the club face.
Yeah, it's just trying to the club face, especially when you're trying to use the balance. It actually picks up speed in that dry, dormant grass.
Women here may want to not only get a lesson from Jackie Berg Jr., but from Houston native Billy Ray Brown, member of that spectacular Houston golf team. Come on, Billy, I'll sing your praises here. I know you're not going to say much.
But I can tell you, I know about missing greens and pitching out of this dormant rough.
It's true, though. I mean, I grew up in the Northwest, and we played one kind of grass, and it was a pretty big shock to the system to travel the world and play all the different grasses. And dormant Bermuda was one that reacts very differently than the normal Bermuda or any other type of grass.
So used to playing that rough that's got, a lot of moisture in it where it slows the club face down, and a lot of times you start trying to use the leading edge, and this, not the case. You have to use the bounce, and the club actually, like as I said, speeds up through it. Ball comes out hot more times than not.
Drifts a little by for Norquist. Not her best stuff today, but +2, 73 for her. Back over to Jackrabbit.
This is A. Lim Kim from South Korea, who has a couple of wins on the KLPGA. She's inside the top 100 in the world, 94th in the Rolex rankings, and going along very well here at the US Women's Open. This is the first time she's ever played in the championship. Let's go back over to Cypress Creek.
Sungyu Park with her second and even. Always a dangerous player.
Yeah, she likes to lurk, and she has that high ball flight, has the power.
COVID hit and scuttled those plans, but she has a lot of talent. This is Saso.
Yeah, third shot at 14, trying to get it up and down for a par. Not happy. Let's go to 18.
And Danielle Kang. Let's just see if she can erase the bogey at the last.
And this is another good look here. Pretty flat putt overall. I don't see a lot of break in this putt. There's just a shoulder to the left that might try to influence the putt at the end and move a little right, but I don't see much movement at all.
Yeah, you're right, Billy Ray. Just kind of stayed on course. Danielle thought it might come back to the right, so it appears it's going to be 17 pars and 1 bogey for Danielle Kang to get in at +172.
This is Lydia Ko on the 9th at the Jackrabbit course, her final hole of the day. And yeah, it's a nice way to finish for Lydia, who is rounded 71. While we have a moment, let's go down to Cara Banks.
For par, as an aggressive little chip she made. So trying to get in at +1. Instead, it'll be 3 bogeys and a lone birdie for the #1 player in the world, Jin Young Ko, who broke through with her 2 majors last season. Part of her ascendance to the top-ranked player in the world. +2 round for Jin Young Ko. To 14.
And this for par for Saso.
A pretty critical putt in her round. Had such great momentum on the front. Lost a shot at the 11th. This little right to left breaking putt for par. Oh, sneaks it in.
Yeah.
Well done.
Caught enough for the hole. Yeah, loose second shot at the 11th. Not a good second shot here, but she got away with it this time. And in that group at 3 under, 1 behind Amy Olson. And we will go over to the 9th.
And Shibuno finishing up. Hoping it's a birdie. Just not quite enough pace, but it is an excellent second 9 for Hanako Shibuno. Comes home in 3 under 33. After the first 9 of 35, 68, and right there indeed. Shibuno after the first round. And back over at 18, Kang for par. So indeed it is 17 pars in the lone bogey at 17.
Thank you. Just hard. Just walking off. I mean, it's
because
hard to
she
be
knows she had her
disappointing.
opportunities.
Yeah, but she played better than that.
And you know it's good weather, and you know you got to go over to the Jackrabbit course tomorrow, and you know there's some weather coming in, as you said, could be even more difficult over there tomorrow with smaller greens. So we'll see how Danielle makes out tomorrow and the rest of the field over at Jackrabbit. Now Popoff coming in with 2 birdies in a row at 16 and 17, 4 total for the day, just 1 back of Olson.